Imagine turning on the radio, hearing a song that completely defines your generation, a rebellious rock anthem, or a profoundly emotional love ballad, only to discover decades later that you were actually jamming to a highly sophisticated advertisement for breakfast cereal, antacid pills, or sugary soda. Welcome to the untold, wildly deceptive side of the music industry. Today we are uncovering the shocking truth behind the melodies that infiltrated our minds, captured our hearts, and secretly targeted our wallets. We are diving deep into 10 classic hits disguised as commercial jingles, exposing the secret corporate handshakes, the hidden agendas, and the bizarre boardroom deals that funded the soundtrack of a legendary era. If you absolutely love uncovering the hidden mysteries behind the world's most iconic music, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a beat. The comforting illusion of pure, unadulterated art is about to be completely shattered. Starting with an iconic rock band you would never, ever expect to see selling a healthy breakfast. Number 10. Wake Up in the Morning, The Rolling Stones. The ultimate bad boys of British rock and roll were not exactly born with that untouchable, dangerous image that defined their later careers. Long before they became the ultimate symbol of anti-establishment rebellion, long before the chaotic tours and the legendary controversies, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards needed to pay the rent. In a bizarre move that the band desperately tried to bury and erase from history in the decades that followed, the Stones actually recorded an incredibly upbeat jangly jingle for Kellogg's Rice Krispies cereal. Listening to a young Mick Jagger happily sing about pouring cold milk into a bowl of crispy cereal is a deeply surreal experience that completely shatters the gritty mystique the band worked so hard to cultivate. Whispers and rumors have always circulated that immense pressure from their early management forced this highly embarrassing corporate move, proving that even the most formidable pioneers of rock and roll had a strict price tag before achieving global fame. It remains a fascinating skeleton in their closet, but if the Stones eventually managed to hide their corporate past behind a wall of rock star attitude, our next group took public deception to an entirely new, almost criminal level by faking their very existence. Number 9. No matter what shape your stomach's in, the T-Bones. The entire nation was humming this incredibly catchy, upbeat instrumental melody, driving it all the way up to the top 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. It was a massive cultural phenomenon. But what the adoring public absolutely did not know was that this infectious track was not born from the creative minds of a rising, struggling garage band. It was a direct, calculated advertisement for Alka-Seltzer antacid medication. The original television commercial featured a montage of people of vastly different shapes and sizes, focusing entirely on their stomachs in a comedic fashion to sell indigestion relief. When the background music mysteriously exploded on local radio stations, the record label panicked. The T-Bones were not a real band. They did not exist. They were merely a shadowy group of elite, highly paid studio musicians from the famous Wrecking Crew, hired secretly for a quick corporate gig. Desperate to cash in on this fake success, executives hastily scrambled to assemble a group of random, good-looking musicians to go on tour and appear on national television, blatantly pretending to be the band that recorded the hit. The American public was completely and utterly fooled. And speaking of massive deception, our next legendary rock act turned the concept of selling out into a highly destructive art form. Number 8. Great Shakes, The Who. Internationally known for aggressively destroying hotel rooms, famously exploding drum sets on live television, and leading the chaotic British counterculture, The Who harbored a dirty little secret sweetened with chocolate syrup. They recorded a passionate, high-energy ode to a brand of thick milkshakes called Great Shakes. The shocking contrast between their deeply angsty, generation-defining lyrics and the enthusiastic promotion of a dairy beverage is absolutely staggering. while guitarist Pete Townshend would later attempt to frame their commercial work as a brilliant, ironic critique of modern consumerism, eventually leading to their concept album, The Who Sell Out. The backstage reality was reportedly much simpler and less philosophical. They were completely broke, constantly in debt from destroying their own equipment, and corporate money talked the loudest. Behind-the-scenes stories suggest that the legendary, unpredictable drummer, Keith Moon, caused his usual brand of absolute chaos during these branded recording sessions, making it a sheer miracle that the commercial was ever even finished. But if The Who did it for a quick paycheck to survive, the next instrumental track on our list accidentally defined the entire aesthetic of 1960s pop culture.
There's no more now, better get more now.
Number 7. Music to Watch Girls By, the Bob Crew Generation. If you close your eyes and listen to the opening horns of this track, you instantly picture sophisticated spies, sharp-tailored suits, martinis, and the pure, unadulterated cool of the swinging 60s. It became the absolute definitive sound of a golden era of espionage and glamour. However, this chic instrumental masterpiece was never intended to be a piece of standalone art. It was, quite literally, a basic rhythm test tape created exclusively for a Diet Pepsi commercial. Advertising executives on Madison Avenue demanded something highly energetic and modern to sell a low-calorie soda to a younger demographic. And legendary producer Bob Crew delivered a beat so unbelievably infectious that radio listeners began calling in, demanding it be released as a real single. Diet Pepsi accidentally shaped the sound of global pop jazz. The executives stumbled into a cultural phenomenon simply by trying to move inventory. And while soda shaped the sound of instrumental pop, our next iconic band found their deeply held hippie ideals on a direct collision course with the denim industry.
With the help of ice-cold Diet Pepsi-Cola.
Number 6. White Levi's, Jefferson Airplane. They were the undisputed voice of San Francisco, the very epicenter of the psychedelic rebellion, the summer of love, and fierce anti-war activism. Jefferson Airplane represented absolutely everything that stood in direct opposition to corporate America and capitalist greed. So, why exactly were they suddenly providing the electrifying, acid-soaked soundtrack for a commercial selling white Levi's jeans? When the truth emerged, the shockwaves sent through their devoted underground fanbase were severe and unforgiving. Harsh accusations of sheer hypocrisy flew from all directions. How could a band possibly preach a spiritual revolution, sing about feeding your head, and simultaneously accept massive, fat checks from a massive clothing corporation? The band reportedly justified the move internally as a necessary evil, a way to secretly fund their long-term artistic independence without label interference. But the heavy stain of selling out to the establishment never fully faded from the most purist hippie circles. That moral conflict was undeniably intense, but it completely pales in comparison to the genuinely dark and controversial territory that our next song bravely marched into. Number 5. The Disadvantages of You, the Brass Ring. This remarkably smooth, seductive melody perfectly crept into the top 40 charts, heavily enchanting millions of listeners across the country. It sounded innocent enough, a perfect background track for a relaxing evening. The dark, hidden reality was that this music was meticulously engineered by psychological experts to be an auditory trigger for Benson and Hedges cigarettes. In an era just shortly before tobacco advertisements were permanently forced off American television due to drastic and severe public health concerns, the tobacco industry cleverly used the psychology of catchy pop music to subconsciously condition the public. The upbeat, breezy melody completely masked the highly dangerous, addictive product it was ruthlessly pushing. It was a masterclass in corporate manipulation, effectively turning a piece of art into a stealthy Trojan horse for a deeply harmful habit. The advertising industry was quickly learning that the radio was the ultimate tool for subtle brainwashing, a highly effective tactic that would be repeated very soon with our next entry. Number 4. Sippin' and Chippin', the T-Bones. The Ghost Band aggressively strikes again. The completely fake, studio-invented T-Bones returned to the music charts, but this time, they were heavily funded by the massive Nabisco cracker brand. This specific moment exposed a deeply critical flaw in the entire music industry of the era. The Billboard Hot 100 was theoretically supposed to be a pure reflection of popular art and genuine public interest, but massive corporations quickly realized a terrifying truth. With enough hidden marketing investment and a wildly addictive melody, they could literally buy their way onto the sacred charts. Music was no longer just about emotional expression. It was becoming a heavily calculated algorithmic strategy long before digital algorithms even existed. Record labels began to view popular rock bands not as artists, but as walking, breathing billboards. This toxic mentality led to an absolutely absurd level of corporate pressure on the talented musicians involved in our next story. Number 3. Judge GTO Breakaway, Paul Revere and the Raiders. Listening to this pounding, aggressive garage rock track, you immediately feel the raw urgency, the sweat, and the electric energy of youthful rebellion. But absolutely every single beat, lyric, and guitar riff of this song was strictly dictated by executives at Pontiac to aggressively sell their new GTO muscle car. Dark speculations constantly surrounded the band regarding the relentless exhaustion and the insane, crushing pressure they faced from Columbia Records to act as glorified, singing car salesmen rather than legitimate artists. They weren't just casually endorsing a vehicle. The vehicle became the absolute core essence of their creative output at that time. The band's artistic autonomy was brutally traded for massive commercial appeal and radio syndication. Yet, while they were forced to sing about fast, loud cars, our next legendary duo managed to miraculously transform pure financial bureaucracy into the most universally beloved wedding song in human history. Number 2. We've Only Just Begun, the Carpenters. It is widely considered the ultimate romantic anthem. This single song has walked countless couples down the aisle, promising a beautiful, sweeping future of endless love and devotion. The absolute, heartbreakingly unromantic fact is that this masterpiece began its life as a localized television jingle for the Crocker National Bank, specifically designed to lure young, newlywed adults into opening joint savings accounts and taking out heavy mortgages. Richard Carpenter happened to hear the commercial late at night on television and immediately recognized a hidden, soaring potential beneath the corporate pitch. What makes this story truly shocking is not just the cold corporate origin, but the devastating mental toll that immediately followed. Transforming a simple bank ad into a massive, global smash hit catapulted the Carpenters into unfathomable, terrifying fame overnight. The relentless, grueling demands of this sudden superstardom would place an absolutely crushing weight on Karen Carpenter's shoulders. The intense pressure to maintain their new, perfect image contributed to severe, profound challenges that would tragically affect her overall well-being in the years that followed. A beautiful melody that started millions of happy marriages secretly initiated a dark cycle of unsustainable industry pressure for the artist. And speaking of massive global anthems with highly calculated secret origins, absolutely nothing compares to the sheer scale of our number 1 hit. Number 1. I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing, the New Seekers.
I'd like to build the world a home.
No other song in history has defined the pure, unadulterated hope of an entire generation quite like this one. Set against the terrifying backdrop of the Vietnam War and a deeply fractured protesting world, this track seemed to magically unite the globe with a powerful, emotional message of universal peace and harmony. The incredibly uncomfortable truth? It was entirely conceived in a boardroom by highly paid advertising executives on Madison Avenue for the sole purpose of selling Coca-Cola. The famous Hilltop commercial was a brilliantly cynical, calculated move to literally bottle the organic peace movement and sell it back to the youth with carbonation. The emotional manipulation was executed so flawlessly, and the melody was so striking, that viewers relentlessly flooded radio stations demanding to hear the commercial song, completely forcing the creation of the full-length version that went on to totally dominate the entire planet's music charts. The invisible line between a song that deeply moves your soul and a calculated jingle specifically designed to empty your wallet is drastically thinner than we ever dared to imagine. These incredibly talented artists undeniably created the magic, but shadowy corporations secretly pulled the strings from behind the curtain. The next time you find yourself singing along to that nostalgic classic on the radio, you have to ask yourself, are you truly feeling the raw emotion of the artist? Or are you just being successfully sold a phantom product from the past? If this deep dive into the hidden secrets of the music industry completely changed the way you listen to your favorite records, make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel for more untold stories, and let us know down in the comments which song's shocking revelation left you the most speechless. Keep listening closely, question everything you hear, and we will see you in the next story.